Hey Channel Insiders, welcome back for part 2 of our special bonus episode on the dark web. I'm your host Katie Bavoso, and if you haven't watched or listened to part 1, head on over to channelinsider.com to do that right now. Today, I continue my conversation with CEO of ISM Group, Simon David Williams, about what you can do to keep your information and your business's private information off the dark web. Let's talk about some examples that you've been involved in where you've helped mitigate after an attack like this, after somebody has been exploited on the dark web. And when I say somebody, a business that you work with has been exploited. Can you walk me through some of those examples and talk to me about how, at what point are you contacted to say, hey, Simon David, ISM Group, the worst has happened, and then walk me through what you did to help them and what can be done to help them?
So a usual scenario, ransomware, usually MSP or clients that have an MSP or don't have an MSP, an internal IT department. It happens. In Quebec, sometimes we have months that we have nothing, so I'm okay. But sometimes we have months like this month, I get a whole lot of calls. So why do they call me first? I would say, Jedi Against Pirates is a conference that, was made through all Quebec. That's the first reason. The second reason, I'm cool and I'm fun. So I think they like having me on the phone and getting more information. So, and then they call me. They said, okay, Simon, I want to be sure something happened here. But in Quebec, we have laws. So if a company has private information on their employees, their clients, their partners, whatever, and they lose control of that data, they have to publish it. They have to advise those users of what happened. There's a claim that they have to do to a specific website. That's the authorities of that law in Quebec. They have to declare that to them too. So they want to be sure about what they have to do as an IT business or an IT department or as a business owner, depending on from who the call comes in. So when they call me, they're probably pretty nervous on the phone. They usually don't believe that what's going on, and their only and sole priority is to restore operations. That's the first 5 minutes. I explain to them what is the dark web, because usually people don't really care about what's the dark web. So I show them cases of other businesses that have exposed data on the dark web. And then they understand, oh, okay, so now I understand. So you're telling me that every PII of all of my clients or employees is going to be eventually published if I don't mitigate that incident. Mm-hmm. I said, yes. So you should make them aware of what's going on. You have to make people aware to be able to prepare themselves of that second wave of attack that might be not under corporate business, but on the personal side. The first priority is to do an investigation, determine what information got out of the business and who is touched by this PII that's going to be exposed. What kind of information was exposed? Because you have to protect your clients, your employees, and your partners first before restoring IT operations. And to do that, you have to consider everything in your business, phones, tablets, computers, servers, as a crime scene. Because if you want to do an investigation, you have to consider everything as proof of what's going on. So when they understand that, they're gonna, employ probably an investigation firm. We're gonna isolate everything on site, out of the network, create a new network to help them out. Specific computers are gonna be freshly installed with brand new software, brand new patch management, brand new security services on them. Isolated from that crime scene. I'm gonna put that red network that we call it and put it aside for the investigation to be done. Restart IT operations on another size, maybe mailbox, email, whatever you need, but a bare minimum. And we call that the yellow network. And the reason why it's the yellow one, because it's going to be destroyed eventually. Because in the investigation, we're going to learn a whole lot. How their IQ came in, what did they use, everything that's going to be exposed. So we're going to create a green network that's going to be a new network from scratch with every security measure that we learn in the investigation from the attack.
And I heard that you've been involved in some arrests of bad actors too. Can you tell me about one?
I mean, it's an effort that came from a whole lot of people.
Of course.
I was working on a case with an MSP. They're friends of mine, and big case, national case. We're working on the case, and the group is a very known, big group, one of the most common ones out there on the dark web. They were doing, I think it was like a raid in Ontario. They were, analyzing data. They wanted to do a visit of probably somebody that's, was dark, I would say. A dark Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord, yeah.
And they went on site. They found data on site about a specific client, the client I'm working on. So the Ontario Police Patrol contacted us and I said, hey, are you a victim of this guy? I said, yes, we're a victim of this guy because we could relate the PII that he had directly in his house to a direct case of victims. And with that information, we were able to proceed of the arrest, and he's now in prison. So one of the rarest cases in Canada.
Oh my goodness.
The first case that somebody actually went to prison.
For their crimes on the dark web.
Yeah. He was a member of but he's probably still a member of one of the bigger organization that's called Lockbit.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure that anybody who has ever turned on a computer has heard of Lockbit, for sure. It's not if, it's when you get exposed as a business, even as an individual. So for businesses out there who are listening, what's the first thing that they should do if they find out that their information has been exploited and exposed on the dark web?
First thing would be to find out if that information is on the dark web. So usually people don't believe in the dark web. So the first thing would be believe.
It's real.
Because I have to show them every time. No, everybody can go to the dark web. So believe in the dark web. That would be the first thing.
Just because you don't go there doesn't mean it won't find you.
Exactly. The second would be people usually don't think it's a risk. What's the worst case scenario? It's only passwords. They'll change their numbers. We should be okay. No. There's a bigger risk than changing passwords. It's money, of course. So private individuals, as of now, when the cybercrime arrives, there's been impact on individuals, employees, clients, and partners that had PII exposed for a business. And that happens a lot. I mean, we can talk about many major businesses that had private information that was leaked out, but they made aware of the people that was going on. Protect yourselves. The problem with specific individuals when you have PII on the dark web, it's easy as of today, right now, to create a fake loan. I mean, just in Quebec, I think we have like 6 or 7 websites that you can go directly on. You type in your name, social security number, and address, and if they're okay, where do I deposit that $5,000? Where do I deposit that $1,000? Where do I, quick loans, easily online. You can also get a credit card easily online. Everything is so easy as of now. If you have the right information, you enter it at the right time, you can transfer that money to basically everywhere. And that has an impact on their personal credit score. And also, it's a fraud. So it's going to be an investigation and things like that. So believe in the impact also that having PI on the dark web has consequences on your business, because it's going to be your clients, your employees that are going to have consequences of your decisions. So you have to consider that information like it's important. The third one would be do the investigation. I still have people that format the servers and the computers, bring that to backup. We have saved the business. IT operations is restored. But I mean, man, you're so missing something big right now that's going to have a great consequences, maybe on you as an IT tech. So having that information exposed could cause great consequences on you just because you didn't do that investigation to turn out who's being touched by this information. What is exposed on the dark web? What will be the consequences of those individuals? That's a failure when that happens. And after that, operations we can talk about, we can restore them quickly outside of the crime scene.
From 2 different standpoints. So obviously, believing in the dark web and knowing that it is something that everyone is at risk of being exploited on, I think that's the number one thing that people can do to start being more aware and keeping themselves safe. But is there any other thing that both starting from an individual standpoint, so me as Katie Bavoso, how can I keep myself safe from being exposed or exploited on the dark web? And then as a business, what is the first thing that they can do to keep themselves and their employees and their customers safe from that as well?
For individuals, MFA.
Multi-factor authentication?
Multi-factor authentication, yes. It's not 100%, but it does help a lot. When hackers get at those specific passwords, they're going to try it everywhere. Let's say it was a Hotmail account. They're going to try it on everything they can. that same passwords. So as soon as you get a password hit, if you have multi-factor authentication, you're going to receive a text file. And usually that's going to stop script kiddies and a whole lot of, smaller hackers or individual hacker group that are outside of a group. So MFA does help a lot. And you have to understand what's MFA in a personal case. Everything you have access should have MFA. Should. It's hard to implement that because it's a hassle. Let's talk about it. It's a hassle. You receiving a notification on your phone and saying yes, or entering a code. But it's very important. It's very important because that's going to maybe eliminate 90% of every hacker group out there or individual that's out there.
Wow.
Second of all, having a strong password. There's dictionaries on the dark web. Password dictionaries available on the dark web. Every iteration up to, I think it's 13 or 14 characters of 26 letters. So 26 times 26, the probability of every, outcoming word that could come up, even though it's a nonsense word. Those dictionaries are available on the dark web. So use long passwords that basically have multiple capital letters, maybe dollar signs, specific signs that can help you out with that. That's going to help not triggering that MFA, having long passwords, and have individual passwords that are different for every platform. As a private individual, the last thing I would say to protect yourself, if something goes wrong on the dark web, first off, I would say don't click on those links and don't open those attachments. Another thing about multi-factor authentication would be the credit file. For us in Canada, we have TransUnion, we have Equifax that manages our credit reports and credit history to different companies. So let's say I go for a loan, they're going to see that report, send it back. You can activate that MFA, not only on the online account, but on the information that's going to be pulled through Equifax and TransUnion. You have two ways of doing it. You say, first of all, my wallet was stolen. So as soon as that happens, they have to call you to deliver that credit file to a bank or corporate funding company. So they activate MFA as soon as you lost your wallet. So if you say to them, oh, I lost my wallet, MFA is activated. And that's free, by the way. The other option is paying for credit surveillance. So basically you pay for a monthly fee of X dollars a month. As soon as you have a credit question on your file, you're going to see it. You're going to send out an email. You're going to say, oh, what's going on there? Do I have PI that came out somewhere? You're going to see who's asking for that fake loan or that fake credit, and you're going to be able to investigate on what's going on. For the businesses, pretty simple. All of the measures that I've been mentioning for personal individuals are the same. But you have to question yourself about something. Do you have MFA everywhere? You say yes. Okay. On 100% of every login that you have inside your business, you have MFA. Oh, maybe not. So that score has to be the highest possible. Not only emails, everything.
Every login.
Everything you have access to inside a business, it is a whole lot, should have MFA. Second of all, as of now, for us in our small Quebec, Canada, certain insurers are now requiring an XDR or an EDR. It's a software. Next to install. I know there are charges behind it. It's going to monitor what you do regularly on your computer. So if you connect to the dark web and open 10,000 connections to the dark web from day 1 to day 2, that's not normal, right? So that they're going to cut off that workstation or phone from the network to enable you to investigate. As an IT department, as an administrator, you're going to be aware that if something goes wrong on that computer, it's real. But you just save the business of all the consequences of that single endpoint. I clicked on the link, entered the password or something like that. Implementation of a third-gen firewall. We do have businesses that don't have a third-generation firewall as of now. Can you imagine that? No security service at all. A Asus router with nothing on it. And worst of all, there's rules inside a router for access. LAN to WAN, there's a word that's called any between them. So basically everything is open from the LAN, from our local network to the internet. We can do everything we want. And that's not normal. Usually internet uses like 2 or 3 ports. But why do we have access to all of the rest? We shouldn't, because if a hacker comes into your computer, he's going to send out information using those specific ports. It's like 65,535 ports open out to you from your computer. Why do you need so many? Of course, password management tool that can, you're going to have like hundreds of passwords. So that's those passwords. Don't store them in an Excel file in a desktop, worst case on a USB stick. I mean, store them in a password tool that's going to be encrypted, that has MFA. It's going to be simple to use, but secure. Training, of course, is very important. Letting people know what's going on the dark web and on the different measures that we're implementing, why we're implementing them, so they understand that what we're doing right now is for your own security. It's always for the users. It's never for the business. We always want to save the people first. So we're doing that for you.
You mentioned cybersecurity insurance at one point, and I think it's important to point out that many insurers, if not all of them, require specific tools inside of a security stack. Would you mind just going over what do you have to have in place to be able to be eligible for cyber insurance? Or not only that, but to be able to get the claim should anything happen.
Nice difference there, because usually people do have cyber insurance and sometimes the claims don't go through because they don't have a minimum of standards that are applied. Even though they asked the question a year ago, those minimum standards are changing every day. So the first one is MFA. The second one will be XDR, MDR, EDR. Third one, third gen firewall. Because first of all, you have security services that's going to inspect your traffic on the internet. So that's a must, a minimum. So a third gen firewall with security services on it. That's the bare minimum. There's a whole lot of other solutions. But when we get to, I want my money back, those are the three biggest ones.
Are there any solutions, technologies, or frameworks that you're seeing right now that just work, that you would suggest that people put into their security stacks?
AV is important.
Antivirus, okay.
It's like a no-brainer because it's been there for 10 years, but we sometimes forget it. I just want to mention that having an antivirus is still good. Okay, going back, what's the other solutions that you can implement? First of all, having a business continuity plan, prepare for the worst, and test that worst is very good. So let's say you shut down operations as of now, test it out. What would it look like? And try it. And it's weird because all the time, IT and the administrator says, we have a backup, we're okay, we're back up in 24 hours. Fine, very cool, love it, and you leave it like that and you go forward. Oh, no. Create a new environment, as this one would not exist, in a parallel place, and try it. Flip the switch on and see if the data is okay. And after 72 or 96 hours, that was predicted to be 24 hours, you'll know the reality of your backup solution for real. The other thing that you could implement, testing your security. Having experts coming in your systems, test out, the different ports that are open, the any rules that I hate. For me, in 2024, there shouldn't be any open ports from the WAN to the LAN unless it's filtered and geolocated. Basically, the rule I'm saying, there shouldn't be any inside of your rules. You should always open up only specific ports to specific IP groups that you need to have access. So having a tester come in, and you're going to know what might be a big security risk in your business.
When do you see most of these exploits, attacks, related ransomware and malware attacks? When do you see them happen? During the week? During the month? Is there a pattern there at all?
Yes, there is. Always on Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays, and always starting at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's always like that.
As you would know.
I knew hackers usually connect to systems in the night, so they're sure that nobody's connected, nobody's going to see the mouse move or things like that, and then they act on the system. They're going to encrypt the system. I'm going to receive a whole lot of alerts or call coming in.
If somebody wants to learn more about being a Jedi rather than a Sith, or being a Jedi against pirates, and they want to speak to you, how can they reach out to you?
The best way would be LinkedIn. I always answer to my message, so you can add me on LinkedIn. If you have questions, you're on a specific case that you want guidance or maybe help, or just hands, or just listen. Our goal is not to get new clients. Our goal is to just support the IT community as a team, because all of us together can change what's going on right now in IT and in cyberspace. So it's working as a team and one big family that we can assemble to those dark Sith lords and destroy them.
Thanks so much to Simon David for being on the show, and thank you for watching or listening. If you want more episodes of Channel Insider Partner POV, check us out on channelinsider.com, on YouTube at channelinsider_news and trends, or on your favorite podcast platform. If you've got a question or you want to be on the show, email me at partnerpov@channelinsider.com. I'm Katie Bavoso, and I'll see you next time.